Ready? I'm going to call the committee of the whole meeting to order on January 10th at 6 p.m. I would like to acknowledge we are in Mi'kmaq, the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Everybody is present, no regrets. Additions to the agenda, I have two. One is correspondence. Correct, Sid?
Yep.
And one is in
camera. Buy plans to buy sell property.
And I would have another one, which is an in-camera item that I had mentioned last meeting and forgot to bring up in camera.
Okay.
It's negotiations.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
Should be awesome.
I have approval of the agenda with the 3 additions. I need a motion.
I will so move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion has been approved. Approval of the committee of the whole minutes from December the 6th to 2023. Anybody have any amendments? Hearing none, I will approve that by unanimous consent. We have no presentations, we have no public input, we are into new business. Apples Royal and Engage Nova Scotia, which was a small section of our meeting.
So Mayor Boyer and I attended a presentation from Engage Nova Scotia on the Quality of Life Initiative. And that is the PowerPoint presentation that's in the package before you. So they are looking to see if municipal units would like to take a part of this new program. And as you can see, it's a survey that goes out and it does the quality of life, goes through different aspects. And is all broken down for us to review afterwards. There is a fee and it's 50 cents per resident for the fiscal year of 2024-2025. So if you're interested in taking part, we can include that in the budget. Part, yeah.
$265.
Yeah.
It's really cheap, but I don't see a lot of benefit to it. We have a very small population, which it's easy for us to consult with our ratepayers without having to do a provincial survey, provincial-wide survey. And of the 550 residents, how many of them will be included in the survey? Because it'll be a sampling, or how many will agree to
do it.
Yeah.
do it.
There's
So-
usually a percentage, I forget what it is, but it's not huge that typically engage in these. Maybe what, 25%, 30%?
So 100 people, 120 people, maybe.
Yeah, remember, do you remember, Amory, if they mentioned that? That's why it was before
I didn't
Christmas.
find on purpose, but what is a valid statistical sample from 530?
So this would go to the province, back to this engage group?
The Engage group would,
It's a
be the lead
nonprofit.
of it.
Yeah, and then they would gather it from all municipalities and,
Well, just whoever signs up. So if we sign up, they would do it for our residents and give us the data.
Yeah, it's a small outlay, $260 some, but I just don't see there being much of a benefit even for that small price.
I'm agreeing with Paul, but like it's so small, it's like, okay.
We would need 50 to 100 per valid sample.
yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering,
Yeah,
okay.
50 to
that's-
100 would be a valid sample of population 530.
And this is like an annual thing? Is what they're looking at? This is a one-off?
No, I think it's a one-off.
It was done in 2019, so.
So every few years, 5 years maybe.
that was-
19.
We need an answer tonight? Or you just needed an answer for budget?
I don't think we need.
There
an
was
answer tonight.
there was no deadline to it. It was just,
No.
we had both attended and bringing it forward to see if you're interested, so.
And there's no extra work on our staff they facilitate this whole,
Well, maybe we note it for budget and we just have it as a discussion point at budget time.
okay.
But like Paul said, I don't see a lot of,
Just wondering, yeah,
okay, so is that fine? We're just gonna note it for budget and then we'll just throw it in the mix?
yeah.
Second item, uniting tradition with tomorrow, proposed marketing and economic development plan for the town from Medic. That is tab 3.
So Medic has recommended this up to council for review. I know it went back and forth to Medic a number of times, and I think there was still some
There's still,
corrections
For
that,
example, they missed all first, no reference to First Nations.
Yeah.
And Daniela agreed that's an oversight. That seemed to be the biggest one.
yeah, and you had sent
I
more whenever.
I sent her on, this was her third draft, so I sent her detailed edits,
Okay,
including that there was
Yeah.
no reference to First Nations. So I think they wanted to hear, I think what Daniela did, or what she said to me was she wanted here so that council could see where it was going. And any changes you'd like to see, there's still, obviously, she would like input from any member of council who has something to say about it. So I conveyed my third round, but that's because I was on Medic committee, but this is an opportunity for all of council to weigh in.
So what is the appropriate way for us to offer our insights or?
Danielle, I would say.
Yeah.
Or the
To
medic,
the chair.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Medic
chair,
chair, yeah,
Okay,
that's what I would do.
yeah. We both sit on medic, so we've,
Or
Yes.
we're gonna have that meeting on the 23rd, if you wanted to bring a sheet then, and
Yeah.
just hand it to her and she have a discussion, that'd be fine.
okay.
But
Was this a
this
group
is her
effort?
third draft, she's
Don't
completely
forget
agreeable.
Oh, sorry, Paula. Did I see you up there?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Is this Danielle's specifically her work, or was this a group effort from Medic?
Group effort.
Okay, that's
she
good.
did spearhead it and we
She-
all
Yeah.
weighed in.
She did an initial one and then it was revised and then it went back and forth.
This is draft 3, and she's prepared, fully prepared to do draft 4.
There must be
Yeah,
a
it was- yeah, it was too- it was
amount of work that was involved.
You should have seen the
Work.
first
It
one,
was all work.
yeah. I was like, that's like, but yeah, it was a good job.
So if you have any comments or ideas, Paula, then just, again, email it to Daniela and we do have the meeting on the 23rd as well,
Okay,
okay?
it's an ambitious plan. It's good,
Yeah.
I like
That's
it.
exactly what Sandy said.
Yeah,
That was exactly
but
her
that's
words.
okay.
It's okay, absolutely. It's great.
depending on who's gonna step up and
Yeah,
help with this ambitious plan.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's good to have a few items.
scaled
Sort
down,
of-
yeah.
At least then you can feel like you accomplished
Reachable
something.
goal.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
look at our strategic plan, it looks like a kitchen sink, and it is.
Yeah, which.
It is, it's a kitchen sink. Yeah.
All right, so we're good to move on?
Yeah,
All right, and then the next item would be the Annapolis Royal Flood Risk Assessment and Adaptation Concepts. Draft report of December 31st, 2023.
So this is the first draft received, that was supposed to be received on the December 20th council meeting. So it came in late, but so it's here for review. I think we've kind of seen it in different stages, but this is the final proposal
Mhm,
that was funded through the FRIC grant. Right, so.
mhm.
The thing that jumps out on me, well, early on this is I guess, the Causeway Gates. Cause it's still a comment that it all depends what happens with the gates, that this is gonna happen, but this is not gonna happen,
Absolutely.
right? And I'm like, okay,
We have no control over the Causeway Gates. So we do have our meeting coming up with Nova Scotia Power, which is one of the items that I told her we would like to talk about.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they had to change the January meeting, so now it will be in February. So I'm just waiting back to hear from Mrs. McNeil on when we can reschedule that. So it will probably be the last week in February.
And Alex and I wrote to the province saying we need an assessment report of the condition of the causeway.
Yes.
So our intermunicipal group can follow up there. We have
Yeah.
more clout now that there's three of us, maybe.
Depending which route,
That's a-
I guess, gets the hold of that causeway and the gates, cause I know there was a lot, DOT to the top and then Nova Scotia Power has the bottom kind of deal.
But I think the last set up, it was agriculture would control the gates.
Yep.
The last, but we need to confirm.
It's
that's
John,
true or
isn't it
not.
John Moore's department? Because he is the one, the minister was responsible for the gates at, in Windsor.
Okay,
That's scary.
Excuse
me, I
It's from your point of view.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we talk about, and the original plan seemed to confuse the tidal power generating plant and the gates for that plant with the gates for the causeway,
Mm.
which are totally separate.
Yeah,
And I think that Nova Scotia Power shouldn't have anything to do with the gates to the causeway, only the tidal
interesting.
power plant.
So in our original conversation back in 2020, was it?
Yeah.
Or 2021, I can't remember when we started the process. We were told that there would be 3 levels of government that would be taking over that site.
including the gates.
Yeah.
Cause it makes a big difference. If there's control, there's very, very little chance of flooding, and if there is no control, then it's higher.
If
Yeah.
there's no control, the Ducks Unlimited, French Basin.
Nothing matters, you're right.
Yeah,
Well, all of that would flood actually
Yeah.
Yeah.
daily on high tide.
Yeah,
And I'm glad they pointed that out in the report, because that gives us.
Something to
You're
refer to.
absolutely right.
So it also put our,
so for now, this is just for our information,
And the public's.
of course, yeah.
And so we have it going to the Environment Committee meets on Friday.
Yep.
And it's on the agenda as well for them to see a copy of the final report, so.
I did notice there doesn't, they give the costs, or not the costs, but how much damage could potentially be done with a dollar figure under different scenarios. And there is one scenario missing. They don't, for 2053, they don't give the, what they refer to as the, I have a note here, high confidence prediction. So for 2023, there are RCP 26 prediction, there's no dollar figure attached. They only give the worst case dollar amount.
And we can ask for that.
For that,
because
yeah.
It's open for us to.
Mhm.
Because I think that, and it must be an oversight on their part, and that's essential information,
Yes.
because it's telling us, how much damage could there potentially be in 2020, by 2020,
If we do nothing.
2053, if we do nothing.
Yeah, yeah, that would be really good to know.
Yeah, that's on page, Paul, that's on page 33, right? That chart, yeah.
I think there's two different spots
There's-
where it
there's
should
one on
be,
the
would have been
and
included.
it's 2053,
It's 2053, yeah.
2053, okay. I was hearing 2023 and I was like, doesn't that get it right?
Well, and then they say 8 years to 2130, 2103, 80 years. There's a lot of, some typos.
Right, so we can, send those back.
I've got a list of things too, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Paula, sorry, what page did you say? 31?
33?
33.
33. So
Yeah.
Paul, are you looking for 2023 as a benchmark? So
I'm
like,
looking for, no, I'm looking for what they refer to as the RCP 26 scenario for
Right.
2053. So they give the RCP 85
Yeah,
scenario for 2053, but not the high confidence projection. Only the worst case projection.
Mm-hmm. Hmm,
so he said he's open to also making changes or whatever we need. I'd like to see on the shoreline restoration, he gave us one price on page 20 for the one he calls it King's Wharf, but it's a town wharf.
I was thinking say it through it is.
Yeah, so he needs to change that 675,000.
yes.
But nothing on the other two shoreline restoration projects, 28 and 30, and maybe they didn't calculate it. Because Ducks Unlimited might be interested in page 20, 28 and 30. So should we get our comments in about corrections to Sandy?
Yes,
So
please.
that she can,
And then I can compile them and then send them all to
yeah,
Matt.
because he's willing to make them, so, yeah. But at least we have some numbers, which is, bit in the way.
In a way,
Yeah.
I'm concerned, we had the test holes done, the boreholes. And for the area along the boardwalk, they did the borehole in the parking lot where the garage used to be. But I suspect that the soil conditions there would be far different than where they proposed putting the seawall along the boardwalk. Because that would have to be infill,
Oh, yeah.
whereas the spot where they did the test for was a parking lot.
Well, questions like that should go to Sandy now.
Well, and I'm not even sure.
No,
it was
comments
a
like
different
that.
company, but
Yeah,
it's
Comments
important.
should go to her, yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, I think the 3 locations were decided on between the Ames network and the drillers. They had to, when they actually got on site, they had to move one of the locations because with the machine they brought, they could not reach the location they wanted to do. But yeah, I know, they were trying to figure out what the 3 best locations were that day.
And it's all infill though along that boardwalk, is it not? Like the boardwalk, I guess the rock but it's infill.
I
Because at
think
one time,
except up here, right? Cause up here was the marshy.
That stayed the same.
yeah, but I think it's around the corner from where the amphitheater is down. They brought infill in when they did the original boardwalk. Because most of it, like the theater was over water.
Yeah.
At one time, before they did the boardwalk.
So that could have a huge bearing on the cost.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody that has any comments, I can send it to Sandy and. So, are we making this public then without or are we tweaking it one more time?
Oh, it's public now, it's gone out with the
Okay.
package, but it's understood that it changes and obviously we're gonna have questions. But the other question I have, now that we have all these reports, like all these expensive engineering reports, lots that were done with grant money. So we have all kinds of infrastructure projects, and you talked about an annual meeting. And I'm thinking it'd be good to have an information meeting, just an information meeting to let people know about, here are all the potential projects. Here's the information we have. And just, anyway, I'm just throwing that out. But now that we have reports on so much, the STP sewage treatment plant, and it might be good to consider a meeting that's just strictly information. Where
For
the
the
public can
public.
come in and just find out about, here are the things that here are the results of all these engineering studies, there's the war, there's this, there's that. And you could include other stuff, you might even want to include, the pool might come in at a separate table, or the twin committee a separate table, or whatever. But just an information thing.
That'd be like a pre-budget consultation.
Yeah, it could be that, but it just to
It'd be
let
nice to get
people
some
know.
direction from
Yeah.
those that live here, kind of which way they want us to
Yeah.
go.
Here are the results, like you were talking about an annual meeting, we've got all these reports now that have come in, so, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
I used to
That's a
do it
good
in the
idea.
spring when you have people that are away back,
well, that's it.
So
many
then that
people.
will miss budget,
Yeah,
that's the problem, but I mean,
Right.
you're still,
Yeah.
cause like if you do it in February, there's a lot of people that are away,
yeah.
yes,
right?
Yeah.
And usually we do budget February and March.
Yeah.
Um,
So it argues for sooner than later,
but then are you missing the bulk of the people, right?
but then which of these things are likely to get done before? They're not immediate term projects, none of them, so you could go later in terms of, you could go past budget.
Yeah, I think we could still do our budget. and
Because we
still
don't have
all
millions of
the-
dollars to do
Well,
any of this
we're not
projects.
putting up a seawall this spring.
Budget.
But
Right?
at least let people know, here, the reports are in, here's what they say.
Yeah,
Some
here's,
decisions are gonna have to be made. And,
the only thing that jumps out at me is allocating X number of dollars for a seawall, or X for a war, or X. Like, maybe it is for capital project,
Yes.
but not specific, because until we get some direction of what people want or prioritize.
So
the
are you
report
looking
is
for-
suggesting we start setting aside money for adaptation, but we did that with the gas tax money, we've done that. We've said 50%.
50% of the.
We're gonna allocate to adaptation, we didn't say, we weren't specific about what kind.
which is good.
So we've kind of followed that recommendation already.
So are you looking April?
Yeah, I think that's a great
Well,
time, cause it's before it gets too busy. Cause once you get into the June, July, forget it, people are too busy. I think spring, April,
If
May.
we're talking about snowbirds, then May.
May,
early
okay.
May.
Yep.
You know,
I don't-
Snowbirds I know don't come
Yeah,
home
until it's really nice out.
Until they get word.
Everything's gone, it's warm out.
Okay, so I'll just kind of keep that on. Oh, Paula's got a question.
Oh, sorry, Paul.
That's okay. 2 questions. So is there a space on the website that we could have a tab and put all of these reports into that tab? So then people could go directly to that area on the website, read all the reports. That's question 1. And the second question is, if we do have a public forum, who's going to speak to each report? Because, will we bring in Matt to talk about the sea level rise report? Or would it be you, Sandy, talking about the report? Because there's going to be questions, right?
We can invite, because there's the wharf, we could invite, different people for different ones, because I won't be able to speak on all of them,
Right,
Hmm.
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
It'd
Um,
almost be like a fair, not a fair, but different.
Just different
people,
tables set up.
Just move
Yeah.
around.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
I would probably do it more like presentations, each one, so those that are interested in the wharf can say, okay, at 1 o'clock, we're gonna have the experts, Sandy and whoever, talk about the wharf
Would
or
we get
talk
an
about the
engineer
seawall.
back, or?
My only concern is that Matt has already done this presentation 3 times,
Mhm.
and it doesn't seem to change, and that's not the presentation that we need him to do. If this is an information session, this is just how I feel, but like, we've had
I
the
think it's,
same thing, like, he hasn't changed his
Except for his
His-
price.
his
Well, price and the
presentation.
the approach
Right?
is substantially different this time.
but
Yes,
are they there to
but-
present, or are they there to answer questions?
Well, that's, I don't know what you want.
I
I'm
think
Yeah.
it's
thinking
more
answering
questions.
questions.
Me too.
Yeah,
Like, I don't wanna see a presentation after
No.
presentation after
No,
presentation,
no,
that'll
no.
kill people.
Right,
right.
But if somebody asks you a question about, I don't know, engineering structure for such and such, you're gonna be like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'll refer that to right here,
But
which
if
would be
he's
nice to have him
If
there.
he's there, he can answer, yeah.
and if we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
separate tables though, whoever's at that table when that question is asked, then all the people in the room are hearing that conversation, right? So that way, if we have it, like you say, set up so that from, 1 o'clock till 1:20, it's questions on the wharf structure, and from, 1:30 to 10 to 2, it's questions on the seawall project or the small, or the tidal power,
Or the
small,
solar.
yeah, or the,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess the one that, like, the seawall one concerns me, because can we just say, can we answer the question on? If I was public, I'd ask, is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? Like, that sort of stuff, like,
Well, that's where those tables
Stats
come
come
in
in.
that
Yeah.
Paul is referring to, that, there is a slight chance that in the next 20 years, it could happen.
but he couldn't answer questions like. Other things that would pay, such as government, insurance, none of that stuff was answered. He
No.
couldn't answer anything about the gates, and that's a huge thing on our flooding map. You throw the flooding map in, and if those gates are controlled, it doesn't flood that section.
But we'd have time to prepare for a meeting.
oh,
and
yeah,
I agree, we have to get answers about the causeway, absolutely.
Right, and how that would change.
We'd have time to prepare, I think.
yeah.
Well, it's January
Yeah.
10th today, and we're talking about a meeting in. We have time to sort of iron out the
Flush out
details.
how we wanna do it.
Or at least know and be able to say, we're not sure at this point, or
Yeah.
we're waiting.
Things like the wharf, are we gonna have a question on like, is this what we want? I mean, it's a tough question.
That's
but
why I
mean,
think the information is good to get it first. And then gauge what the reaction is, because you're right, there's a lot of information here about the war. We have 2 reports now, we have this one and we have the Able, we have 2 reports when it comes to the war.
Mm.
So we have lots of information, it's a lot to digest. There's also the sewage treatment plant, that bothers me, because that's still That's been a long one, but it's still an issue. So it'd be kind of nice if we could put all the big stuff out there.
Well, the pool should be in. the
And
mix
if,
of my
yeah,
mind,
that's
too.
another one, they could come, the pool group could be there.
Yeah.
And we could even offer a space for the twinning group if they
Mhm.
chose to take it, just to,
What?
again, be there to answer
That would be you.
questions and.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We just, tonight, we don't really know how it's gonna
Right,
look. But I think an information day, night,
Well, and it sounds like it's more the capital projects that we're worried about.
well, the
Sewage
big
plans.
projects. It's
yeah,
not so much twinning, but twinning is again a strategic maybe the strategic projects.
Mhm,
Pool strategic, pool is strategic, so is twinning.
yeah.
Well, pool's also infrastructure,
Yeah,
sorry.
we own it, so,
Yeah, so there's,
We own them all.
well.
I would
referring to
like to see us just do
Twingo.
the infrastructure ones, like,
Yeah.
we wanted to do like a twinning one, that's kind of more of a
Marketing.
marketing, yeah.
Not even that, in the report. It's referred to as a cultural
Experience.
experience because there's no economic benefit.
Well,
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we wanna do? Do we want to?
Just leave it with staff and staff will come back with something, and we'll plan for something in May.
that's
Yeah.
always a good plan.
And staff will kind of put together some ideas and present them maybe in March, and then we can, yeah,
Then we get it out to
we'll figure it
property
out.
owners and stuff like that. Okay, that sounds great. All right,
I think that should be a good meeting.
new business number 4 is request for staff report on condition and future of town chain of office.
And I'm
Okay.
making that request, that council consider commissioning the staff report, because the chain of office is over 100 years old. It's on its last leaf, it's delicate,
It does have leaves,
it's on its last leaf,
Yep.
meaning it's one blank leaf left.
and that's not blank, because that's for your name.
Yeah, so it's done.
It's full.
It's full.
Not only
We can
that,
just keep
it's,
adding to it, isn't it?
but it's an artifact, it's over 100 years old. It's
Mm.
not in great condition. It's at the point that I don't even think it should be put in a portable pouch anymore because it's too fragile. So it's an artifact. So I would like to see a staff report on what should happen, just so that there's a plan, whatever it is.
So, we discussed it and we've decided that it is, the velvet on it is it's falling apart, it's
Yeah.
very old. So we were just thinking of recommissioning, getting someone to make the new velvet, take off the pieces, take the leaves off of the back and move them up to the front and get more gold bars and add them and just make it longer and continue to use it.
Okay, so let's talk about the gold bars,
With all the names on them.
but they're not all gold, they're only the last few that have been added. Which
Yes,
to me
there's 4.
distracts from the rest of them that are all silver,
No, they're bronze.
bronze.
Yeah, so you couldn't get them anymore. So that's why we had to get the gold ones. So it must have been 8, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. I was tasked to do this. And I went up to Fancy Jewelers and the only suggestion was given to me that the only thing they could get was the gold ones that matched what's on there now. And the leaves are not available to get. And so they suggested that we take the new ones and put them down on the bottom. So we can still get those colored ones. We can't get anything to match because it's 100 years old or however old it
Right.
is.
So would it not be, maybe it's time to move all the names over to a new one?
Yeah, what about retiring this?
Yeah, that's what I
And
was
bring
thinking.
in, and like, I know that, I know it was rough when I was mayor. And there was a gentleman from the Masonic Lodge, and they have a whole world of chains. So it might be an opportunity to talk to maybe somebody that's part of that lodge to see if they have something more than Fancy can offer.
Yeah, so I don't know. Do you want a new one or do you want the old one replaced? I need direction.
It'd be nice if it
So-
was consistent looking.
I thought it would be appropriate to have a council report, because there's also the idea of what do you do with the old one? Do you have it accessioned by a heritage group? Like, I don't know, it's an artifact. I know that it's over 100 years old, it's an artifact. So what happens to the artifact? Does it just go in the safe? So that's why I was thinking maybe a staff report,
Have it on
give
display.
staff time to think about this, but it's up to council.
I
Yeah,
would think we would display it somewhere,
well, that's what I was thinking, have it on display, like, yeah,
on the
here.
wall or behind glass, whatever, but.
We don't have a lot of
We don't have a
stuff on
display
display.
case, so that's another issue right there.
Or location,
Yeah.
right? We don't have
We could display it right there.
on the wall.
Now, the
Yeah.
town minute book, for example, which is considered priceless, is now at the Odell House Museum, and it's been accessioned, which was the right place for it to go, thanks to Peter Davies, who thought of having it done. It wouldn't have occurred to me, but that's where it landed up.
I'd like to get a staff report. If we could get a staff report of what our options are and whether we get it replaced or refurbished, look into what's available, what the price is, and just go from there. I don't think we can really make a decision tonight. I think we need to get the staff to help us with this. Ask the staff to report on it, give us some options.
Stupid question, maybe I'm new to this municipal government thing, but do we need one?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah. We're the oldest town in the country. We should have a chain of office.
That there's, I don't know,
Other delegates.
other mayors, other representative.
Yeah.
They will be
Should
wearing
have
masks.
it, yeah.
Okay.
And we have one of the oldest ones going, kind of thing, so. It'd be
But in
nice to
answer
have.
to your question, in France, there's no such thing, and so it's one of the things that we have here, the tradition, but it's not everywhere.
Okay.
And the French are way over when it comes, I was surprised, he was shocked that I had a chain of office. He had a sash. I had all this bling.
Yep. But yeah, I'd like to see it upgraded. And there's opportunities to that, like if mayors are there more than once, they're only listed once. And then they put the extra dates on the back of the check,
Oh,
you know that?
on the one we have?
Yeah. So, you go through and some of these gentlemen were there for a long time. As on the back of the check is the dates.
Yeah. They're not that wide, so I never really looked at it.
Okay. So we're gonna get a staff report on it, and just go from there.
Perfect.
Makes sense.
Moving on then to unfinished business. Environmental Advisory Committee Policy 2023-10.
So there's a draft motion. I can go ahead and read it and then can recommend to council to update the Environment Advisory Committee Policy number 2024-02 dated January 2024.
I'll second that.
So there wasn't many changes anyway, was there?
It was just
It's just-
membership.
Just the
Yeah.
number of members, yeah.
This one in the agenda is different from the motion.
What?
Yes. So the policy number has, because now it's in January of 2024, so it had to be updated, yeah. I wasn't around when the package went out.
Okay.
This is the only document that refers to terms of reference for the Environment Committee.
Back it up a minute, because we have a seconder for that motion.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Is this the only terms of reference for the committee?
Yes,
Why is there no reference to quorum?
because we have a policy, overlying policy, it's called meetings. Something and something, and
Okay.
that
So there's
procedures,
like-
yeah, so there's an overlay, yeah, for all of the
overlying,
policies. And it, yeah, says that quorum is usually the plus one,
Okay,
yeah.
I see the police commissioners one. police
That's a
board.
bylaw, yeah, so the
Yeah.
bylaws are different than the
Yeah, theirs is a
policies.
bylaw.
Should we
Okay.
reference that though in this bylaw?
policy.
Like quorum, reference this policy number. Did you do that?
If you want to add the quorum, what the quorum is for
Well, even if you just reference that.
the policy,
Yeah,
the overlying
overlying
policy.
policy. Then it's at least noted in,
Yep,
So just add another, like, number 6 and add it in there. Refer to.
yeah, refer to policy, what such and such for quorum.
or for all the other
Whatever.
procedures, because
Yeah,
it's
for-
an over,
yeah.
yeah. So let me just grab it. Oh, hold on a second, wrong name. Yeah.
Rules of procedure.
It's meetings, procedures, and presentations policy.
That would work.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then everything else will relate back to that.
Yeah.
And it's policy number 2023-02.
Okay, so amendment to the motion to add that in?
Yeah.
Secretary will approve that?
I will.
Further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye, against?
Aye.
Thank you, Paula. All right, Board of Police Commissioners bylaw, tab 6. Can we read that?
Sure.
No,
I can't, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one you
Shall
guys.
I decide?
Yes, go ahead.
I will move to recommend to council to approve the first reading of the Board of Police Commissioners bylaw dated January 2024.
I'll second.
and so this one, as we talked about last month, is just to change the meetings to quarterly instead of monthly. Unfortunately, because it is a bylaw, so it has to go to first reading, we have to put the ad in the paper, have a public meeting, second reading, and then it goes to the Minister of Justice for approval. And then once the Minister of Justice gives approval, then we'll put an ad in the paper, and the date of the ad, then it becomes the new bylaw, so.
Takes a while.
Yes,
In other words.
So we do it
Can't we
monthly
just keep
meetings
on
for the next
meeting?
six
yeah,
months?
until this kind of comes through, so.
Okay, so this is the first part of that motion, first motion on this then. Any discussion on
No.
it? Paula, good?
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor then? Against? Motion is carried. Then there's a second motion, just to set the date.
Okay,
And maybe before you read it, I think because it's not like gonna be like a real public hearing, we'll change the time to 6 and we'll just have it at the beginning of our council meeting. If everybody's okay with that,
Yeah,
instead of
us
coming at
coming
5 and then,
after.
yeah, 'cause
yeah,
if anybody comes to, you know, ask why we're changing it to quarterly, we won't need an hour to discuss.
no. Okay, I'll recommend to council to set the Board of Police Commissioners bylaw public meeting on February 21st, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Second,
I will second that.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against, motion is carried. The town real estate policy, 2023, number 2024-1.
So this was discussed at the December meeting.
Mhm.
And I have a draft, policy changes. So the changes are highlighted there in yellow, so I've added the sections of the MGA, to just be more clear in the policy, what we need to follow,
Mhm.
and then the terms, that I changed, like I said, are highlighted. I don't know if there's anything I missed or questions.
Just a few typos. Annapolis Royal in the first, under purpose is capital R. And then item 4 under policy statement, in the event that the town requires services of a realtor, the town, so it's just comma, the town, shall select this, so just typos, that's all.
So what's highlighted, it wasn't in our policy before?
Correct. I think both copies are there. Are they not?
I didn't see, yeah,
There's
that
some
might
copy.
be.
Just the one copy,
Yeah.
okay. The old one wasn't there.
No, that's okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
There weren't things going or coming.
So
Yep, just added.
number 4, in the event the town requires the services of a realtor, select one of the real estate businesses within the town on rotational business when we need them. So I know there's been some difficulties with the issue now with some of the properties that we're having, and we have 2 counselors that are representing one realtor. Would it be better to have it just randomize that a little better and say just starting 2024, we're gonna use X and then we'll rotate through those existing ones? So it's not dependent on when we need them, it's just depending on, you know,
There's some of them come and go though, as well,
I know,
right? So then you'd have to update your policy all the time if you're having a list of them.
well, I wouldn't list them, I would just say, well, I guess it would be, I just try to think if there would be a way so it's not, like, you're always got to pick one at the time of the event.
Yeah.
Right?
So if
Yeah.
I picked one and say it's Exit Realty, then next time they wouldn't have to pick that one, right?
And we all know anyone can actually sell that property. X could sell that property,
Right.
even though they're not our
Right, cause
realtors.
it's just
So
an MLS listing, I
Yeah.
guess it's,
it's very open now that way. I think.
The policy seems very convoluted. We're talking about, any potential lands we might consider selling, we're supposed to list on our website. And if someone expresses interest, then we'll get an appraisal done. And then, well, if need be, we'll hire a real estate agent. It just seems complicated. Instead of, we have a piece of land that we want to sell, or a building we want to sell, let's hire a real estate agent who will give us the best deal, for example, because there's different commissions. Or the best brokerage deal.
Right.
That's available, and go with that.
Yeah, so I just kept the original.
Yeah.
That the inventory would be on the sale on the website first and,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah.
Can I say, I agree with Paul. I think that if we are locking ourselves into an arrangement where we go on a rotational basis, I think that's it's not helpful. I think it's important that we say that we'll shop around with the brokerage that's going to give us the best deal and work with an agent that's going to help us the most, like we shop around instead of being stuck with, well, we had Exit 1 year and now we have to go with one of the other 2 in town, but we actually really liked working with Exit because they gave us the best deal at the lower commission rate, for example. So I think we need to maybe change that a little bit so we're not locked into the rotation. The other thing I noticed as well, it says all purchase and sale arrangements. I think that should say agreements. And I wasn't sure what it meant when you said related to buyback provisions. What does that actually mean?
So if we sell a property with the condition that they have to build on it within 2 years, the 2 years is up and they do not build on it, then we have the right to buy back the property.
Ah, okay. Okay, so do we need to
If we have that
expand?
condition if we have that condition already set out in the sale of agreement, then we have the right to.
Right. Okay.
comment, Paul?
You want to budget that in March, well, it's like, it doesn't sound practical in that particular case, the buyback provision, but anyway,
That's what we're doing.
I know, that's what we put into or what we've suggested with the current person, or, yes. But
Well, it goes back to we have limited land, and if they're not developing it, then yeah, I guess we get some taxes from the vacant land, but not the same as if there was a building on it. So, and it doesn't do anything, it's not to me, an advantage to the town or the community to have chunks of vacant land that we can probably have something on. So if they're not, I think we need something.
We can write it into agreements, but practically, can you see us practically, on a practical basis, wanting to buy back land?
To resell it, yeah.
Well, we
You know.
know that the process for selling land can be very lengthy. And
I think our process
there
for it
would
might have been a
be-
little off, and maybe would have been better to have our, not only listed on our website, but maybe on the MLS, saying these are the sites that are available.
Yeah.
But yes, I can see us wanting to do that. Do you do it at, the 26th month or the 25th month of a 2-year agreement? Or you say, well, you do it at the anniversary of the 4th year that there's nothing being done on the site that you're like, okay, we need to do something with this. So that option is huge. And it does make sure that something is being moved forward. I think it's a good option to have in there. Because of who we are. Right? If it was me personally and it was selling my land, I'd be like, oh, that's good. But maybe it's something we have to change on how we deal with the listing stuff. I like the idea of working with, tendering it out to the existing realtors of the town and saying, okay, list them. There's no cost to us until there's a sale, right?
Yep.
So,
There's a cost to us to tender though, right?
Yes.
So if we
we only
A
have to tender,
minimum cost, but there is a cost.
but we can do a call in, which is different than a tender out.
Well, you just said tender, so that's.
Yeah, no, but there's the other option, right? If you call all the realtor agencies in town and said, we're looking at having
So our policy, our procurement policy has a limit on goods and services, and I think it's 5,000.
okay,
So anything over 5,000, we have to tender it.
right, but that's kind of a weird one, because how would you
Right.
know, I guess what's the most expensive property, 90? Or something,
100.
100?
Yeah.
And what would
Which
you do
would probably could potentially come in at over $5,000, the cost to us, if we were to sell through a real estate agent.
Okay,
We could be charged 6% on a piece of land.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Isn't it 3 and 3? Normally?
Well, but.
Selling and buying?
Combine the two, that would be 6% that as a town we'd be paying.
But we don't pay 3 on our portion, no? You pay the
The
6.
seller pays the entire portion.
Yep.
So whatever the real estate costs are, it's going to be our expense. And it could potentially be 6%, it could be less, especially if we're shopping around.
So,
Paula made a very valid point. Shopping around is important because, if we're tied to a particular brokerage, well, they might be like, yeah, we'll charge you a couple $1,000s more than the guys down the street. And we'd be like, oh, that's terrible, but okay.
and you could negotiate and say, well, we'll pay maximum of 4.5%. Or 4.9% per 100.
3.5%.
3.5% for, yeah, well, and then it's done, and then it's out of your guys' hands, you don't have to, staff doesn't have to work with it, like it's up and running.
So we're looking at changing the rotating realtor to a realtor that best suits our needs. I don't know.
I would like it, staff recommends, comes back with a recommendation, if we have a piece of land that we want to list, with a recommendation on who we could potentially hire to sell it for us on our behalf, and then council deciding whether to go ahead with that or not.
But that's why we have a policy, so that I don't have to come back and forth to council. So I just go to the policy and follow the
Process.
process, right?
Our
That's why I
process is
say-
whoever offers us the best deal then.
Just a
So if it's
change
in,
the-
if it's in the policy and just says,
So revamp 4 and take out that we're gonna rotate it and put in that we're gonna take it out at the time to find out the best agency that will give the town the best.
Just follow the
Package.
procurement policy, take it out of here altogether, just say it comes under procurement,
So
Then you're
that
done.
will,
then you're done.
Okay.
No bureaucracy.
Yeah, but what happens if it's under, if it's a $50,000 piece of property? You just,
then I can just go get 3 quotes.
then you just get the 3 people come in. Okay.
Simple.
yeah, let's keep it simple.
Don't sell it good for 100,000.
We have a whole lot to sell.
Yeah, this isn't even gonna come up that often, but it's good to have it all squared away.
Well. So what are we doing here? I guess are we changing 4 on this?
And we offer direction to staff to
That's what
change the policy and bring it back to us.
Didn't we just make the recommendation now? That's here in our draft motions and with
To
the,
amend number 4.
with the amendment of number 4.
Yeah.
So just say that in the event that the
That's
town requires the service of a realtor, the town shall use
Follow normal procurement.
normal, the existing procurement policy.
Yeah, and then it comes back to you at council. If you still don't like it, then you just don't vote on it and it comes back again in February.
I think we should not have the first section of the old policy. I just don't see the point in listing, let's put a piece of land on or property on our website, and if someone expresses interest, we'll get.
I think it came from having very hard to sell properties.
Mhm.
That's where it came from.
But if you
And
have
it
a
was
hard,
successful.
if you have a hard to sell property, if your policy instead reads, you're gonna hire.
But it's how
Other
Fort St.
acreage.
Mills happened, wouldn't have happened otherwise. But for example, that's how that land got sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Public Works take responsibility for that because they made it presentable.
Paula?
Yeah, Sandy, you mentioned about the procurement policy and you needed to get 3 quotes to go to tender for 3 quotes. Am I misunderstanding what you're talking about there?
Under 5,000.
So under our procurement policy, there's standards of what, if it's a service, goods and services, anything over 5,000 has to go to tender. Anything under 5,000 is 3 quotes. Depends on what it is. So, and then there's, equipment is another policy and an amount figure, which I don't know off the top of my head, but they're all different.
Okay, so when you're selling real estate, are you saying we'd need 3 quotes from 3 different brokerages based on commission? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay, so in that case, instead of a rotational basis, we've got 3 brokerages in town. We'd have to go to each one of them and say, what would the package look like if we used you to list this property?
Correct.
Okay,
That's if I put that section in there under our current policy. That would be what I would have to do.
okay. So in that case, we would need to take out of section 4 on a rotation basis, get rid of that and put, like Amory says, as per the procurement policy. And that covers us, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And if there's 2 real estate agents in town, would you have to go outside?
Yep,
You have to
I have to have 3. I have to make the effort to have 3. And if I get 2 and I get an email from one saying they're not interested in submitting, then that's my due diligence.
Okay.
You're contacting the brokerages, but it's going to be a sales agent who you're gonna be dealing with, and the sales agent, unless it's myself, Paulo, or David Jernay, is going to be from outside of town.
No,
Well,
I'm talking about,
Remax is
I'm talking
in
about the agency itself,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they don't have to live in the town, no.
but my point being, because we're maybe contacting brokerages within town, but the person we're hiring could very well be outside of town.
Oh,
So
yeah.
whether we go to a brokerage that's in Digby or Bridgetown or wherever, it doesn't really matter.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the agent has to live in town. I just think the brokerages has to have an
I'm not worried
office
about
in
the
town.
agent, though.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more making sure
Yeah.
that if we support, we're gonna support here.
Yeah.
Not Digby, not Bridgetown. You know, the agents can come out of Bridgetown, but it's the agency that's in town that we're going to.
Yeah. And also, we could go to one brokerage and ask 3 different agents within that brokerage, because each agent is going to present something completely different, possibly. It doesn't have to be 3 separate brokerages. Like, it doesn't have to be Remax, Exit, and Engel and Volker. It could be 3 agents from Remax, or it could be 2 agents from Remax and 1 from Engel and Volker, right? As long as you're getting 3 quotes, right?
Mhm.
What do you think of that?
Well, I'm not sure how fair that is to the other agents.
I think it needs to go to each agency, and each agency should be able to provide a quote, whether, and whatever agent wants to represent it, that's up to the agency, but
Okay.
I think that would be the fairest way in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And realistically, as soon as it is MLS, everybody's got access to it anyways, right? So
This is it.
it's just trying to make it look, the process look correct.
Yeah.
So you good?
No, Paul brought up the fact of removing section 1 and 2. Do you
Oh,
want to
the
do
first
that?
part, purpose?
Do you want just it to go directly on, through a real estate, or do you want the town to try first on our own? Right, that's what you asked. That's what I meant.
I'm really fine with the real estate agents doing it, to be honest with you.
If we want to sell a piece of land, that's the quickest way.
Well, it doesn't, then the staff doesn't have to deal with it, it's just these are the pieces of the property we're going up, it doesn't cost us anything until there's an actual sale,
Yeah,
and that's just part of
just
the
get some
process.
So do we
movement.
policy and procurement takes care of it? That would be your option.
That'd be simple.
Policy.
Okay. So get rid of the policy? Is that what you said?
No, I don't think we can do that, because on number 5, there's the buyback, which I think needs to be there for us as a town.
Hmm,
Yeah, but we can do that without it having to be
Yeah,
part
we
of the
don't need it.
policy.
That's in the contract, right, of the sale.
okay.
And
It
then
doesn't
we're
say
covered
everything.
under the MGA, under the sections that I've listed, 28 to 218 and section 50, because we have to follow the
We have to
MGA.
follow the MGA.
So it doesn't have to be a policy, it's just something that we have to follow anyways.
Okay,
Okay,
wow.
One less
Well, we killed
policy
that.
look after.
Zip, zip.
So now I need another, so I need this motion to fail,
Yeah,
so we can vote on this motion.
Okay.
And then I'll need a new motion to repeal the current policy
which is.
2003-7,
and then that's all we have to do.
correct.
Okay, so, all those in favor of the motion?
Which-
Have we moved the motion
Which
yet?
one?
The one that you have on the table.
I don't know, we moved it though.
We didn't even read it.
No.
No.
Oh, we didn't?
No,
So,
I don't think so.
It's Amber's turn.
To go for
Did you
it,
read it?
Okay.
you read that
Alright,
one and we'll,
Okay, all right.
I don't think. we
So
I
did.
don't think we did either.
I move to recommend to council to update the town real estate transactions policy 2024-01 dated January 24th.
I'll second that.
So we're voting nay on this one, right?
Correct, yes.
All those in favor? All those against? Nay. Policy as, motion is
Defeated.
defeated, thank you. Weird. And then we need a motion to repeal policy number 2023-7.
We'll move that
I'll second that.
and probably date it January 2024. Do we need that in
No.
there?
No, because it was
It's
November
2023.
17th, 2020. It was November 17th, 2003.
Okay,
And the title of the policy is the town real estate transaction policy.
And we're just gonna use procurement policy to replace this one
Correct.
That
That should be
maybe
noted.
yeah,
in the motion.
for reference.
Was that reasonable? To add that in there?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
We're repealing it.
I
Don't
don't,
need
I
to.
just need to
Yeah.
get the policy repealed, so it's gone, and
Yeah.
then the minutes can state that in procedure, we will use the
Okay,
Procurement policy.
procurement.
all those in favor of the motion? Aye, against? Motion has been carried. We are moving on to correspondence. I have Communities in Bloom, tab 8.
We've certainly done this before in the past.
Yes, we won
Yeah.
in the Nova Scotia Communities Bloom in 2006,
Mhm.
and then in the international competition in 2008.
It's been a few years ago.
It is lots of work. It's a great program. Just not sure if we have the time now with the new medic plan. Maybe if it was one of the items in that plan, it could be looked at, but
One thing
I
I
could
did
recommend
ask
that to
them
Danielle.
to do is look at beautification, whether it's done by volunteers or whatever, because there is a demand out there to do beautification.
Mhm.
But I suggested to Daniela, even if all Medic does is just try to get a group interested or, that's as far as I went. Because I realized there's a lot on their plate.
Who did it last time? Wasn't Medic, there was no Medic at the time.
we worked with the historic gardens,
With
we,
everybody.
town staff, we did,
BOT,
yeah.
we have a SWAT
SWAT
team,
team, we used to come in
cigarette
and,
butts.
yeah, made my kids do that.
Oh, yeah, it was
But
an
I-
all-in effort.
Yeah, but I did get the reward of going to Calgary to receive the
Reward.
award, yeah, so that was
That's
worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we need to direct this to?
No.
No, nothing, all right. You have the addition to the correspondence?
Yes, the tab was there for the Annapolis Valley Regional Library. They sent a letter.
Oh,
Oh, I think I might have to go to a different.
Is that one in there separate, Kim, or?
it's right on the top. She puts everything on the top so we can find it.
So it was the letter from the CEO.
Yeah.
To the minister,
So it's
or from the board
board.
chair, sorry, yeah. To the minister, requesting they review the funding allocation for all the libraries in Nova
Yeah.
Scotia.
It's up for review. Government should be making a decision in 2025.
Not till 2025?
Yes, but now is the time to push for increased funding for libraries from the government, because it's been pretty much stagnant since 2011, I think. This letter sort of follows on the heels of Annapolis County having done one to the minister as well. And it may be something we would want to consider, because it would be in our best interest
To write a letter?
to write a letter.
Well, the other thing too is the funding formula, because we fund for a service that's disproportionately used by county residents again. It's just the reality. 530 people are subsidizing for 9,000. I don't know that, but all those numbers are not from here. A lot of them from here, good support from here.
There is great support for town.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if any letter of support also, nudge someone in terms of looking at that. Because our situation is different from other municipal units.
It is, but that would sort of take away from the thrust of what is needed at the moment. Maybe that is a separate letter.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right with that.
Do you know-
So,
Sorry,
go ahead.
do you know how many, libraries the county funds? Is it four?
Libraries, off the top of my head, no.
No, yeah, I don't either.
Bridgetown, Lordstown.
Lordstown, Cornwallis.
Cornwallis doesn't have
So I don't
one.
know if they have one.
So I thought there was either 3 or 4 that they already have to fund, so.
Might be just the two. Because
There's
Middleton would have its
Bear.
own. And,
Oh, we have one there.
and Annapolis County pays a quite a fair chunk
Mhm.
For the,
because of the population.
Yeah,
Okay, there's a recommendation for us to write a letter.
I think so. Would you like to
to the minister.
So is it,
So do you
Copy.
want to
I
do the
can,
first draft of the letter since you sit on the,
I can draft a letter,
okay,
yes, which I'll send to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
that'd be good. And then we also have the letter that we were supposed to have done by the end of January to go to our representative. So we'll have that ready for council?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, we're still working on it.
we're still working on it, but
We're
we
down to
can
the
do,
square feet now.
yeah, we already, that's done, yeah.
We're down with square feet.
so now we're on to roundtable. And Boye put in her report. Do you want to make any comments in the report?
Yeah, we met yesterday, Sandy and I did, with the notorious Federation of Canadian Municipalities, to learn that we have a new program manager and new funding programs. Back to square one, and we told them we've been in this business since 2021. So here we are, 2024, and this will be our 6th or 7th program manager, and will be our 5th or 6th application. Anyway, just to let you know, that's where we are for FCS. That's it.
Okay, my comment, I guess, I attended the levy at the Legion, which was lovely and numerous people, like it was packed. So I thought that was fantastic. That's basically it, our last kind of meeting. Christmas was good. Councilor Sanford.
I too, was able to go to the levy. Really, it's one of my favorite things to do. It really is. It's fun. And I enjoyed hosting the Christmas gathering that we had. That was a great little social
Good time.
event. Other than that, no, Christmas and here we are.
Yeah, Paul. No, I'm going. Oh, I just skipped over.
Oh, don't forget Paula.
Paula,
Excited.
sorry.
It made her feel worse.
That's okay. So, yeah, just Happy New Year to everybody. And you've probably all heard the big announcement from the local pool. The town pool has announced, and it was a very difficult decision for them to announce this, but the temporary closure until they can figure out how to raise the $500,000 needed to replace the pool liner. And so they are currently talking and strategizing next steps, how to actually set up a whole different committee of volunteers specifically to look at raising that money, because every year the pool board has to raise at least $75,000 just to run the pool. So this is going to be a completely separate group of people to spearhead raising that much money. So yeah, it's a big decision that was made, and hopefully there's a solution and it's found quickly, and they can open the following year. So
Have they come up with a date for this new group or this like a public thing or?
right, they did post something on their Facebook page today. Well, it was actually a consultation company that picked this up and then shared a post about the pool. encouraging people to come forward if anybody would like to help. But I think the pool board is actually going to put out a more structured plan of specific roles that volunteers could fill to get this ball rolling.
That's a good idea.
So, yep.
Are we going to be hearing from the pool committee anytime? Are they going to make a presentation to council?
No, we did hear, we've got.
They got the letter.
We got the
Yes,
letter.
we
I
did get the letter,
Is there
responded.
anything
which was
beyond that?
very, it was extremely comprehensive.
I replied back to the letter, and I've been speaking with Anna Kate and clarified a couple of things from the letter. And she had notified me that they're thinking of having a meeting in February, early February. And I just let her know that, let us make sure she knew when, let us know so that council could attend. I also gave her the date of our council February meeting, so that we could go if she picked a night that wasn't our council or committee the whole night, so.
Okay.
But they're not, no plans of coming and making a presentation. They were very pleased that we guaranteed them the $8,000. They were going to the county with a new letter, and I told her that they could include that our guarantee of the 8,000 could go in the letter to the county, so they know that we were committed to helping the project, so.
Okay. Counselor Weir.
I'm disappointed I missed the New Year's levy, especially with everyone saying how nice it was.
It was lovely.
I was working,
Oh,
so it wasn't the fact that it was New Year's Day, noon. I was actually showing properties.
wow.
Not much to say. I'm pleased that with the first snowfalls appearing of the new year, that our streets and sidewalks seem to be well taken care of.
Ken's in training.
Ken's doing the best he can. He went around door to door. He was at our business, just letting businesses know that in front of their property, they need to help keep it clean too. It's a shared amount of work, yeah. So he just did a reminder. Everybody, that was opened.
Okay, so now we're gonna go, I need a motion to go on camera.